Let me start by welcoming everyone. I'm so excited to conduct this session as it's a hands-on session, and it is I'm talking from Dubai, and I have my colleagues Sayed and Shumaila from Saudi Arabia. And this is a featured event from the Founder Institute GCC / Silicon Valley, and this is one of the 200 cities the Founder Institute has chapters in. So we are lucky to meet you all, and we are lucky to share this knowledge and participate with this practical event. I'll be sharing my screen, and I will start by sharing the agenda. Yeah, so we are from the UAE. It's one of the 90 countries of the chapters of a Founder Institute. And we are happy to have 20K plus mentors in our huge networks. Myself and my colleagues are one of the mentors in the GCC area. Agenda today is I'll just take a few minutes to just a very quick, super fast introduction about Founder Institute, the program, and speaker, and myself. I'll make sure I'll make it super fast, and then another short but necessary introduction about no-code. What is no-code technology? Why we are doing this, and how it's different from all the previous or conventional technology of development, especially for founders and special mentors in the GCC area. Agenda today is I'll just take a few minutes to just a very quick, super fast introduction about Founder Institute, the program, and speaker, and myself. I'll make sure I'll make it super fast, and then another short but necessary introduction about no-code. What is no-code technology? Why we are doing this, and how it's different from all the previous or conventional technology of development, especially for founders and especially for the MVP. Minimal viable products. And then we will jump right away into two practical exercises right away from one of the no-code platforms. I will be announcing the platform and how to access it, but for now I will just mention its name. So we will use for the sake of today's session bubble.io as our no-code platform development for today's session. And we will conduct two practical exercises, hands-on, and then some time for questions and answer. And I'm also happy to invite you to a quick networking session on another platform, AirMeet, right after this session, where it's just meet and greet different founders all around the world. So let's start with the first part. Welcome, but for the sake of the sake of quick statistics, especially for us after this event, let me ask the participants a quick question. How many of you are attending this session because you are a founder or aspiring entrepreneur or founder to be, who are thinking to utilize this knowledge in this session into actually building your startup? Type 1 if your answer is yes, or type 2 in the chat box if you're just attending this session for general information. This is just for statistics purposes. We'll take care. My colleagues will take care of the results after this. So let me start by introducing Founder Institute and by introducing our co-founder, Adio Resi. Founder Institute started in 2009 in Silicon Valley and in Palo Alto, and our headquarters, as the vision of empowering all talented people, all ambitious young people, entrepreneur, to solve world's problem and change the world using the tool of entrepreneurship. This is the vision. It started in 2009 and it kept growing till we are now operating from 90 plus countries and 200 plus cities. So what is Founder Institute? Founder Institute is the world's largest pre-seed startup accelerator. We have helped over 4,500 entrepreneurs all over the world to bring their dreams into reality through entrepreneurship, change the world, and start businesses that matter. Some of the featured portfolios are Udemy, Realty Mogul, Travel Car, among so many other featured portfolios. The mission, again, is to empower communities of talented people and motivated people to build impactful technology companies around the world. Because we believe in people, we have a special way of attracting and actually identifying ambitious and talented entrepreneurs through a special program and through special tools, for example, the DNA, the entrepreneur DNA, and similar tools. Very quick introduction about myself. My name is Manal Rayess, and you may recognize some of the logos here. So actually, I have a my former education is IT, computer science from University of Sharjah, and then master's degree affiliated with the University of Edinburgh. But since I'm a lifelong learner and I believe that we can get knowledge from everywhere, I boosted my personal portfolio of knowledge from so many other websites, Coursera, Udemy, participating in throwing myself actually in different events here and there, startup weekends, ArabNet, and so many other entrepreneurship events to learn. I've worked in a couple of multinational companies. My last affiliation is with Founder Institute as a content and community manager. I'm also mentoring with the team, with the UAE team. Some of the highlights, personal highlights, is that I am a big believer in social impact, and I volunteer. I used to volunteer in every initiative that empower people, especially kids and youth. I volunteered in Common Purpose. I volunteered to coach youth for TED events. I started a couple of clubs to empower kids and youth to grow their skills, the Garage Youth, the Garage events, kids. And besides, my passion is horse riding. I come from the equestrian mindset, let me say, and I think this is the main reason why no code has just I found it very interesting, and because actually it is a tool that can give you control over. It can empower you, like when you when you hold the rein, and when you believe that you can control your own life, the more you equip yourself, mindset wise, and as well as technology wise. And this is the reason I'm so excited to share this knowledge with you. No code. What, why, how, resources. Will spend a few minutes because this is important information for you to understand what can we achieve with no code. Let me throw another question, and again, this is for the sake of statistics. So please type 1 in the chat if you have used no code, one of no code platforms before. Type 2, if you have an idea about it, you know what is it, but you haven't used it before. Or type 3, if you have never heard of it and haven't used it before. Awesome. Cool. I have a news for you as founders, and especially founders and entrepreneurs. No code will be the #1 choice for founders. No code / low code is the future of development, especially for startups. This is some Gartner research or finding. By 2024, low-code application development will be responsible for more than 65% of application development activity. 2024, this is 3 years from now. So it's coming, it's inevitable. And this is amazing news. This is a great news for the couple of reasons I'm going to share in a minute. Why it's important especially for founders and especially in the area of entrepreneurship. Let's just review some of the reasons actually why startups fail. And in this context, how can no code be good news in this context? So the top 3 reasons, as per one of the latest research. Reason number 3 is that because it is not the right team. Number 2, out of cash. And number 1, because there is no market need. And the number 1 reason accounts for almost around 50% of the reasons why startups fail within the first 3 to 5 years, more than 94 plus. Don't take my word for it, but I'm sure that it is 90% plus of startups do fail in the first 3 to 5 years. How can no code MVP, minimal viable product with no code help and be good news in this dilemma? We're saying that not the right team, one of the reasons. So I would say that if you use no code for developing your minimal viable product following the lean startup model, no code alone is just a tool. However, you have to acquaint yourself of the methodology of lean startups and minimal viable product. But if no code is utilized correctly within this context, then this may help in developing the initial MVP by the founder or the founding team, by yourself. No need for you to be driven into technical knowledge or having a prior or intensive specifications first, so that you give it to programmers, because we know that in the first stages, ideation stages, the vision may not be clear. So you may go through cycles of pivoting and cycles of reviewing and refining your vision and the product. So no code can be helpful, because you can have the control over developing the MVP yourself as the founder. Also, when you develop it with available codes, with available tools, most of them can be free or low cost, then no code can help minimize the launching cost. So I'm not saying can save totally the problem of cash and budget, but I'm saying that it can minimize the cost of launch, of development. So this is the second part. And the third part, which is the most important one, is that no code can help you go faster, launch faster, because intuitively it is made for non-technical people to develop and to modify and if needed when pivoting. So my claim is that no code or low code will be the number one choice for founders and entrepreneurs. So what are the elements actually of no code? Is it another template? Is it drag and drop? Is it something like, for example, WordPress or Wix? No, the answer is no. It has some elements of such platform, but it is not a drag and drop. It acts upon four elements, or it is comprised of four main elements. No matter the platform you will be using for no codes, mostly a no code tool has four main elements: user interface, the UI, and most probably you will find it easy to set up your user interface. Most of such tools use drag and drop, visual drag and drop interface for you to build your user interface. The second part is the data and database, and in many of such tools, it is just incorporated in the platform itself. So no need for you to go and you can, in many of those two platforms, host it in SQL or specialized data servers, but when you developing as a non-technical person and using one of the no-code platforms, most probably is that the data, you will be having access to the data, and it will be intuitive for you to design your data holders, as we know it in technical terms as database. The third element is user experience or tools to design the behavior of the system, the user experience, how the system behaves. And this is the main part where it's actually different from other drag and drop tools, because here you will be developing the logic of your web app or app you're developing. You're not a programmer, but here you will wear the hat of a programmer, logical designer. Here you will use configurations and what we call workflows and automation tools to build the logic of the system. When you click this button, what happens? When you log in, what happens? Etc., right? Without writing as a single line of code, you will be able to design the logic of your system or product or web app. And the fourth element is some of the advanced functionalities, especially plugins. Plugins is a very, very important part that comes with no code, because no one MVP can have all the elements of a full system. Like you may need to use, for example, Google Calendar. You need to use it as a plugin. You need to use some APIs from, I don't know, to have some messaging system, video recording system, chatting system within your MVP. So here where plugins come handy, and you can just use some other systems as plugin for your MVP. This is very important. And you will feel so empowered that one person, few hours, typically 20, within 20 hours with no code, you can see something. You can see something that makes you happy. So one person around roughly 20 hours to 80 hours, you will feel like a very, very well established system that 10 years before, you would say it took a team of experienced technical knowledge that spanning across several months. That's why no code is actually disrupting the reality of development. Let me conclude this part by referring to some of no-code platforms and tools. So as you can see, there are lots of established platforms. I would pinpoint here, I would highlight the box where it says business apps. So business apps is the platforms that you can use to build a web app or a mobile app. Let me highlight AppSheet from Google. I also, let me highlight Power Apps from Microsoft. Oracle also has its own tool. But for the sake of today's session, we are going to use Bubble, bubble.io. Some of useful resources I personally used to learn. If you go to bubble.io, there's under Academy, there are lots of amazing resources. And one very interesting practice they started at Bubble, it's amazing. And I just spent many hours, long hours, just because it's just exciting and you cannot stop. Once you start this, you cannot stop. They are doing something very interesting. They are trying to clone the most famous platforms. So they have cloned Instagram, they've cloned Airbnb, Twitter, eBay, and Slack, for example, Groupon. And the most important fact here is that the videos are just there. So you just go, the tutorials, the content, the material, just there. Just go and just immerse yourself before starting to play around and build your own thing. Just take some time and try to follow some of these videos and content, and just try to clone Twitter, for example, and Instagram. It feels so good. It really feels so powerful, empowering. Million Labs also provide nice content, and bootcamp, Zero Code, and nocodeassistant.com. With that, I come to the end, to the conclusion of this section, and we are good to start our first exercise with Bubble. So as I said, we are going to work together with 2 exercises. And let's just keep questions and answer till the end of this session. My colleagues can also answer you via chat if you have any question regarding the previous content. Okay, if you're as excited as I am, let's see what we're going to build. In the first exercise, we are going to create a web app from template in Bubble from scratch. Well, we are going to start a new app, but we're going to see how we can start it from a template and then start working around it. How can we change the design and styles? How can we maybe use one of the plugins, sample plugin, How can we work around the header, sign up and login? Also, we will start to understand how the sign up and login workflow works. This is the first exercise. We'll take, after this exercise, we'll take 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes break so that you can try things on your own. If you have questions, you can share with us. And in the second exercise, we're going to build 2 pages. We're take one exercise. Where we imagine we are building a Founder Institute web app. Well, we have an awesome app, but let's just imagine that we want to clone this. So we will create 2 pages, profile page and mentors page. And then we are going to conclude by sharing some of the settings. How can you launch? How you can specify the domains, etc., etc. Sounds good? Okay, cool. So let's start the magic. So I'll go to Bubble Home, bubble.io.home. .io. It will open this page. I will start a new app. Let me call this app Founder Institute Mockup. And let's specify some of the information because it's helpful. Sometimes they can, let's say it is, I don't know, anything really. That's it will take a few seconds. The nice thing is that you can add templates. There are now lots of very professional looking templates so that you can start with. Okay. Okay. So here is one nice contemporary looking page that Bubble creates for us. Let's click preview and let's see how it looks like, and then we'll come back and start changing some of the elements from here. We are in development mode, of course. I will just click preview. And let's see some of the built-in functionalities. Okay. So what happens if I change the size of the screen? It adapts, so it is responsive. So built-in, as a built-in functionality, this is a responsive tool. Okay, what happens if I click here? Okay, a nice pop-up. Sign in or log in. I will click here. A map element, some of dynamic data. Okay, so let's go back and try to understand how is this working? How is it actually happening? Let's start one by one to understand how is this working. So what's this? I double click here. And here, as you see, the setting for a button will pop up. You can control appearance or the workflow of the button, the style, some conditions, etc., etc. So how come when I click on this button, it goes to some other section? Since this is a behavior, then it should be somewhere around the workflow. I will click on the workflow. So as you can see here, it took me to another tab. So what are those parts? Let's go back. We have the design. We have the workflow. As I mentioned, workflow is where you can control your user experience and behavior. We have the data. What do we have in the data? For now, we have one table only, the user. What else we have? Styles and plugins, settings. So we are going to touch base on each and every one of these one by one in a minute. Okay, so let's start changing some of these elements gradually. Let's take first couple of minutes to explore what is this? What's this container? What's this container? What's happening here? I will open something called elementary so that I understand how what are the different elements in this page. So you can see this is the header element. And those are the different elements. We group them in groups. And as I mentioned, it is super intuitive to deal with. For example, the header itself is an element. You can drag and drop. Header is an element. Sign up and login, pop up, they are reusable elements. You can just drag and drop. And then after you drag it and drop it, you can change the style. You can equip it with workflows, right? So what is this? This is a content. This is a group. This is how we keep things in proportion. So we design group inside a group to make things pretty looking. Okay, so what is this element? This is a map. It is another element you can just drag and drop from the design. Map is here, and then you can just change the properties. So this is the essence of no code. There are elements, user interface elements available for you. You design your user interface, divide it into groups, and then drag and drop the elements, and then start providing the settings and configuration for each of these elements, right? This is in design, and then you control the behavior by designing the workflow, and then you work with data, adding plugins. Let's put this in practice. So what do I want to do? I want first to change this header. I want to make it look like a Founder Institute. I'll click here. I will edit this element. I will take out this image and I will upload. I will add the image of Founder Institute. I'll make sure that I always see the elements tree because it needs to be part of the group. So I will click here. I will call it Image Founder Institute logo. Make sure to name your elements, otherwise you will end up with many elements that you don't know which belongs to which. I will upload the image. Sorry. Right. Okay. I want also to change some of the themes, the colors. So for example, this color, I want to change it because I wanted to follow the styles of Founder Institute. Let's see where this comes from. So if I click here on the button itself, the configuration, appearance, style, let's see. Okay, we can have access to all the styles and we can change the colors and appearance, the fonts, everything. Let me go ahead and change and what do you call? I'm gonna use some of the color picker tools, Chrome extension. And this is the one, I think this is the one for Founder Institute. Let's take it from here. Okay, here we go. Okay, and to make things easy for myself, I am going to Settings, General, and let's actually add it to the color palette just to make things easier for myself. So I'm just going to put it here. Yeah, okay. So now I have this in the color palette. I will go again to the button. I will change just change the color. Let's see what we have. Okay. Let's go back to the index page and see how this reflects. What do you think? Better, huh? So we have this logo, we have some of the styling and coloring. Awesome. We can do the same. Let me change this one. And let me edit the style. And okay. For example, just to match the Founder Institute theme. Yeah. Let's actually make it 13. Okay. Cool. It's very easy and intuitive to deal with because you can just drag and drop and change things around, right? Okay, so we could access the different elements through the elements tree. We now know that header itself is a reusable element. Double click and edit the element. Actually, let me change these two very quickly so that it looks, it all looks consistent. Yeah. What else we know? We know that everything, all elements, we group them. and there are different elements. And now let's add some of the action. So what I want to do, whenever I click this icon, I want it to go to the index page, right? So this is an action. Of course, there are different ways to do so. But for example, if we check this one, this element is a link, and with the following settings. It is an external link, and then you can specify the URL. This one is an image. So what I want to do is I want to change the work to add this behavior. I will do it from the workflow. I click on the workflow. So I will say whenever the logo is clicked, I will add the following action. So here is the event. It adds it for you. When something happens, when this button is clicked, when this image is clicked, when the page, when etc. So the concept of a workflow is that you can design the different actions and triggers and events in your page, and then add what happens. So those are the actions. So in my case, what I want to do, I want to change the navigation. So whenever the logo is clicked, I want to go to index. That's it, as simple as that. I added this action. Let me go back and let's go ahead and test it. I will, sorry, so let me refresh. Let's preview. Okay. So what do I have? I have, I can see the changes in colors and styles and the header. And if you click here, you can see that it the link is activated. Awesome. Now let's try to add some, let's try to experiment with some more elements. Actually, what I want to do, I want to change this image here. Let me delete it. And I want to add some slider to show or to display different images for Founder Institute. So if I try to find the slider here, I won't be able to see it. But what I can do, I can install it as a plugin. So I'll click on install new plugin, and what I can do, I'll just try to find slide show, something like this. Yeah, slideshow. So if you spend some time and check the many plugins that are there, you will be amazed of the amount of very professional plugins, very awesome plugins that can enrich your web or web app. But for now, what I will do, I will just use this one, and it's always recommended that you check the provider of the plugin. So for example, this one is by Bubble itself. And also, of course, you can see the number of apps that uses this one. So you know that this is some reliable plugin. So let me install it. Done. And now you can see that it is added right away to your elements. So I'm gonna drag and drop it here. Let's see. Make sure that it is within your group. Always make sure also that you rename it. Let's see what are some of the properties that you can change. So every plugin comes with a list of properties. I don't want this, I don't want that. And what is the type of the list? So it can be a dynamic list, meaning that it can read from your database, or you can just upload each and every image. For now, and since because we haven't touched the upon the database yet or data part, let's just upload a couple of the images. So I'm going to just upload some of the images from here. Okay. It's usually fast, couple of seconds, but maybe my network. Say it, Shumela, is the connection good? Can you hear and see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
We can see you and we can hear you clearly.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right. So let's upload one more just for the sake of complete exercise. Let's take this one. Awesome. Last one. Okay. Of course, there are a couple of properties that you'll have to spend some time experimenting with. For example, which is better to stretch the image or rescale it, the animation, etc. So each element comes with a list of properties that you can try and fix. So let's see how this will look like now. I'll go back here. I'll refresh. Nice. What do you think? Okay. So we've added some action. We've added some vibrant looking to our website with this plugin. So now we know that we can add elements, we can add plugins, we can change the styles easily. We can design the different groups and elements of our page easily. All this is amazing. Let's check actually the workflow behind this button. I'll click on Get Started. Let me check the workflow. So as you can see, when button Get Started is clicked, what happens? It will scroll to another element and you specify the element. So it's awesome. It's super easy how you can control the behavior of your web app with this. Let's take one more exercise. Okay, so what is this here actually? What is this? Let's check it from here. What does it say? Displaying dynamic data. So what this means is that here we are pulling this data from some resource, meaning it's not static data. So let's try to understand what are the best elements to display dynamic data that we pull from, for example, our database or from some other external data source, and how can we control it actually. Let's go back. Let's check. So when I double click here, you can note that the name of the element is repeating group. Repeating group is one of the containers under containers. So it is a data container that is used to, as the name indicates, to repeat the so it is a container and that pulls the data. So here, what does it say? It says that this is a group, and this is 3 rows. So I've designed 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, 1 column, and 3 different elements. This is an image that pulls from somewhere, and this is then some text that pulls data from somewhere, and this is another text element that pulls data from somewhere. Let's try to play around this and see what can we get with that. So what I'm gonna say here, just to make it related to, relevant to the context of Founder Institute, I'm gonna say that this is a repeating group that reads from dynamic data. Let's say featured portfolio. So what I'm going to show here, I'm going to pull the logo and the name of some of featured portfolios of Founder Institute. So if I click on the container itself, what does it say here? It says that the type of content is Bubble plugin, which is some external API or something, or maybe it data. I don't know in this case. But in my case, what I want to do, I wanted to read from some data that I am going to add, and I want it to be linked to that. So I'll go to data, and I will add something called new type of data. This is a new type of data. I will call it portfolio. So, and under the portfolio, which is a type of data, or in the language of the technical language, we call it table in the database. I'm going now to create the fields under this portfolio. So I'm gonna say, I'm going to add the, before the logo, the name of the company, the startup, which is a text. And I'm going to add the logo, which is an image. Of course, I can add about, I can add, let me add about, which is text. And of course, we can add founder, which can be a another data type. So I can create another type called founder to save all the data for founders. But for the time being, I'm just going to say that this is a user. Founder is a user, just for the time being, right? Okay, so now I've created this, right? Let's populate it with some actual data, and then we'll see how we can link it to that repeating group, which is the container to display this dynamic data. So I'll go to app data under the data section. So there is the data type, which we can design the different types of data, and there is the app data where we can actually have the actual entries. So I'm going to go to portfolio, new entry, and I'm just going to manually add a couple of entries. For example, Udemy. Create this one. Let's create another one. Let's see what we have. course, if you want to know more about the different where I'm taking this from, you can check Founder Institute to check the portfolio undergraduate. You can see the awesome startups that started from Founder Institute. So I just grabbed a couple of these, but I do invite you to check the story of our awesome founders. So let's add one more quickly. Distance. So what did I do? I've created a data type called portfolio. And then I've added manually a couple of data entries. I'll go back to the design and I will make this one read from that, right? So what do I have here? I'll click on the repeating group itself, which is the container. Let me rename it first. I like to keep everything well organized. Portfolios. And now the type of content should be portfolio, right? Delete this all. Okay. Right. So where I'm going to read it from? Okay, I'm going to retrieve all the portfolios from the data. So data source, search for portfolio. Of course, I can sort it by the date, the name, etc., etc., the different fields. It doesn't really matter. For the time being, let me keep it like this. That's all I need. So I'm reading from portfolio, right? Let's see. So now I have identified the source of this repeating group, right? What's remaining yet to be done is to change the source of these different elements. So now this icon, this image is the portfolio logo, and this one is the portfolio name. So let's go here and change it. Let me delete this. So automatically, because you've linked this repeating group to a data, it will automatically show you when you specify the source of the image, current cells. It does recognize the source of this table, the source of this repeating group. So I'll say current cells portfolio. Automatically, it will give you the list of fields that you have already created. So I'm gonna say logo. And what is this? Let me just a minute. Let's give it some space here. We can see that it reflects on all the cells. I'm gonna change this the same way. I'll just remove the previous content. And now this one will be the current cells portfolios name. And that's it, as simple as this. Now, because we don't have data here, but let's just fix it. This can be about, and that's all. So let's go here and refresh. Let's see how this will reflect. Here you go. So now we have a list that is reading from dynamically from the data from our data store or database, right? Of course, these are the basic, this is one of the core elements for your MVP. And this functionality to link the elements, the user interface elements to your data fields or data types is something that is core development. So you can see that with low code or no code, and as we are now taking Bubble, it makes it super easy. It makes it happen within seconds. Previously, and my programmer colleague Sayed knows how much time would that take, Sayed, if you want to do the same thing. Yeah, you're smiling. If you want to achieve same thing with programming.
Oh, I mean, like it would take me just to design the interface, at least it would have taken me 3 weeks. And then if developing the logic behind it, connecting to the DB would be another 3 to 4 weeks.
And this specific action that we just saw, connecting those fields to making them read from the database, how much time would it take?
Well, I would have to code leverage on their APIs first. And I would call those APIs in my code in C#, standard C# code, and then it would be, so it would take me, first of all, I need to resolve the token security issues and all that. Then I'll be reaching out at least a week's time.
A week's time.
Yeah, at least a week's time to get that mature up to this level, what we can do in a couple of clicks. Yeah.
So that's why it's the most amazing news I've received, actually, and it's the most empowering feeling that I've had since ages when I first put my hand on low code. Right, so we have something, and it makes you happy, huh? You'll keep smiling after you achieve those things, those little things that you know it would take hours of coding with no prior tech knowledge. It feels so good. Same thing here. You can change, for example, the settings and properties and the different elements. Right, so what we have now, we have a header, we have added a small workflow for the logo, we have changed the design, we have added one data type in the database. When we click and when we preview, it just reads from the data using the repeating group, right? Last step, and then we're going to take a break and give you some time to work around yourself, and then we'll move to the second part. What we're going to do here? Okay, actually, let me try to test the login and sign up. What's happening here? What happens when I click sign up? And this is the preview. So let me come here. Okay, let's say, okay, sign up. What happens? And the only thing we can see is that this changed to log out. It means that I am logged in. So, but did it actually logged me in? Let's go and check what happened. Let me first go to the data. And let me go to app data and let me check the users. Here you go. So it added me as a user, right? Let's first explore what just happened and how this happened. And then let's work a little bit around the user fields, and we'll move to create the profile page. But first, let's go back to the design. Let me double click here, edit. This is the header element, edit element. Let's see what happened. So what is the workflow behind this one? I will click and then I'll go to workflow. Let's see, we have a couple of actions here. When button sign up or login is clicked and current user is logged in, what happens? Okay, log the user out. If I clicked it and I am logged in, it means that it will show logout. But now we'll have to explore more. And what happens if the sign up or login is clicked and the current user is not logged in? Like what just happened? I was not logged in and I clicked. What happens? It will show another element. It will show the sign up login pop-up because it was hidden. And okay, that's it. So let's see, let's go back and see where is this log up pop-up. So I'll go to the element stream. You can see here, it's hidden, something pop-up is hidden. And pop-ups are another elements available for you. So you can just drag and drop pop-ups and then work around their workflow. So what happens here when I show this one, you can see that here we have another 2 buttons. Let me just click here and edit this element and let's see what's happening here. Let me just, first thing you would like to do always is to try to explore. So you have different group. It's a very smart way. So they have designed the login and sign up in the same pop-up. One of them is hidden and one of them is shown, but it is the same. Let me hide this one and open this one. You see? Okay, cool. And how can we control this? See. Okay. You can see that here in this group, for example, the sign up, we have some conditions added. So I'm not going to go deep in this, but you will find dealing with this super easy and super intuitive. But what this says is that I'm going to add a condition. So when the sign up login is sign up, then this is visible. And when the login pop-up is the visible one, make this one invisible. And same conditions are added to the login. So what I want to share with you here is that you can easily add conditions to the different elements. What actions cause a particular element to be visible or invisible, etc., etc. So there are many properties that you can control for each and every element from the conditional part, right? For now, we'll just keep this. And let's try to check the actions, the workflow for the sign up. So what happens when we click sign up? Step number 1, sign up is clicked. So we will sign the user up. This is an action available for you. And this is another action available for you. And this is actually really awesome. Because it's super easy to add such actions. This is already available and this is already available. So what we're going to do next is that I will create another page. I will call it profile. And what I want to do after we sign the user up, I want the user to be directed to profile so that they can add their name and other information, because email only was captured. We want to capture the names, etc., etc. So let's do that quickly. I will add a new page. I will call it profile. And that's fine. Let's clone it from here. let me delete. I'll just delete everything. Of course, you can control the dimensions of the page, the width and height. And typically for web apps, it is 1200. The width is 1200. But for now, let me just keep it as is, and let's work around this one. We'll work around this one after the break. Will take a few minutes, but just to complete the previous exercise, what I will do, I'll go back to this sign up, and I will add here a profile page. Profile. And I will change it to internal, and let's go here. That's it. Okay. So this is the last thing we'll do. And also let me add it to the workflow. So I will edit the workflow here. Sorry, I will need to do it from here. So the first time you sign up, what I want to do, I'm gonna add a new step, and navigation, go to page profile. Yeah. Let's see. Refresh. Cool. Yeah. Click back here. Okay. So this is what we've achieved so far. Let me take 5 minutes, and maybe in those 5 minutes, Sayed, you can share some of the answers from the chat. And I do encourage all to try a couple of things till I'm back.
Hi everyone. I have shared the link in the chat as well. You guys can just sign up, try it out, and see how easy it is to work there. And Manal will be back in just a couple of minutes, and we'll continue from there. But in the meantime, if you would explore it, it would surely assist you in understanding what she has to show you in the next few minutes. And for anyone who has any kind of questions, just shoot it in Q&A. I'll be glad to answer those.
I'm gonna ask you, what have you created in these 5 minutes? Now, no excuses and everyone can create something within, not within minutes, but yeah. Hello again. And now we are in the second exercise. And the objective is to create a couple of pages. The profile page, where we will be adding a couple of fields to save to the user table, like first name, last name, and a couple of other fields. And if time permits, we can also try one more page to create, for example, a mentor page. So one page for founder profile and another page for mentors. Let's see what we can achieve. We have 30 minutes. Yeah. Okay, I'll go back here. And I will go back to the profile page. And let's see actually how it looks like typically. Right. So, well, yeah, this is some of the information. So basically, first name, last name, LinkedIn profile, city. Let's just pick a couple of fields and try to add them. So this is, make sure to group everything in a group. And let's start with adding a text. Let's say welcome, because here when you sign, when you log in, it will tell you welcome and your name, for example. So what I will do, I'll go back and I will say welcome, and I will add my name. Of course, this is dynamic data. So I'll click here and I will say current user, but first name is not here. So let's create a new field and we'll call it first name. And this is a text. Yeah. So, and we can of course change, we'll change the style later. Now like this. So let's go first to the data and user and see what other fields we would like to capture. Created already the first name. Let's create also last name. We already have email. Let's add, for example, LinkedIn URL. Let's also have the image, the profile image. What else? Let's have the title. Company. Bio. Something like that. Yeah, this shall do. So we have a couple of fields here. Let's go back and let's try to capture some of the fields. So I'll scroll down to the input because all of these are input data. First, let's add some welcome, complete, please complete your profile, something like this, please, or pro. This is a header. You will note that you will be obsessed with perfecting your look and feel. You will preview every now and every couple of minutes. You will preview to see how it feels, how it looks, where it is positioned, and it's something really will get you in the mood of the shoes of a UX UI designer. Anyways, let's just worry about this later, and let's try to have a couple of information here. So let's just put it here. So this is input first. You know that automatically it changes also the name of this field. Copy, paste. Actually, what we can also do. Okay, just there. last name, and let's add an image, and that should do. No, not this image. 1 second. We will add a image uploader, picture uploader. But we want to upload your image, actually. Upload your profile. Let's rename it. Okay. Let's add a button, and we'll worry about rest of information later. Where's the button? Save. Let's preview this one and see how it looks. And then we'll come back. Okay. Sometimes we have to also check the different properties, the padding, the those, because it is also designed with responsiveness in mind. So sometimes you can note that the elements are misshaped. So one trick I always try to do is to group these in one group. So this is one group. Okay, so you see grouping elements in one group fixes some of the possible positioning weird incidents that may happen, and it's also always recommended that you actually design your look and feel of your user interface with proper groupings. So group in a group and a group. If you have left column, right column, you group the left column elements and then the right column, and then group them together. So group in a group in a group. This is the best way to keep your the looking tidy. Okay, now we have this. So what do we need to do? First, what is the content of, what's the type of content of this group? So this is a user. And what do we want to do when we hit save, basically? Because here's the core, what we want to do. Let me go to workflow. So when button save is clicked, what do we want to do? We want to make changes to a current user. So for the current user, I will add first name. So first name, and this is the first name from the data. First name will now take the value of the input first name, which is the field, the input field. Last name will be now input last name's value. What else we've added? LinkedIn will now be LinkedIn value. And finally, the image is now This one. So this is the first thing what we want to do. And maybe we want to show an alert that, that the information is saved successfully. So I'm going to add an alert here. It's another element. For saved successfully. This is by default, it's hidden, but when I go to the workflow, I'm going to now make it visible. So I'll go again to the workflow, elements action. Under alert, I'm going to show this alert, right? So I'm going to show this alert, and then finally, I am going to refresh the page. Under navigation, let's refresh the page. So I'm going to take all those fields, add them to the data of the current user, and then show the alert, and then refresh the page. Easy, right? Let's see how this will look like now in action. Okay. Now it's refreshed. When you refresh, of course, the data will go. We are going to fix this, but now you note that now it recognizes my name. And if we go back here to data, and let's check the entries, I'm going to app data. And if we check now, let me refresh this, sorry. Oops. Let's see. So you can see that it saved the data that I have provided, right? Okay. So the last thing we want to do is just one quick thing, actually. I wanted to show the initial content if it is saved in the data. So I want this to populate my name if it is there. So what I'm going to do, I'll click here again under initial content. I will say, so initially, this is the current user's first name. And this one initially is the current user's last name. That one is, let's see, where is that? Sorry, current users. Right. Let's see the effect of that. I will refresh. Yeah. So it pulls. It pulls, and then I can save again. All good so far? Are we good? So I'm going to ask a question. What if I want to display here that this is an interactive question, so anyone who knows the answer, please feel free. I want to display here my image, and if it is there, I want to show it. If it is not saved in the database, I want to show this upload. How do we think I can do this? Because those are two different elements. This is upload. This is image uploader. Let's see if we can have it as initial content. Do we have it as initial content? We don't have an initial content here. Yeah.
Well, just one more thing. We have a question from one of the attendees that how do we have the validation in the fields? So if you can cover that in your next few minutes, that will be great.
Validation.
How to have
Like,
like a
give me an
mandatory,
example.
yeah, like a mandatory field, or if this field is supposed to have numbers only, or this is an
Yeah.
email address, something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for the question. So as I mentioned, initially we have a list of, for every field, for every element, UI element, we have a list of properties. So here, if you come here for this input, for example, you can see that you can specify the content format, whether it's email, password, number only, address, phone, percentage, currency, etc., etc. So you can specify the format. You can specify whether this is required or not. So this, for example, this should not be empty. My first name should not be empty. It's required. And it is a text. If I have an email, I can specify this, or password, I can specify that this is the format. If you have additional complex conditions, what you can do, you can provide the different conditions, for example, here. For different type of conditions, or in the workflow also. Workflow sometimes can be used to have, for complex conditions, but typically we start from the properties of the field itself, then the conditions, then maybe the workflows. And hence the answer of my question. So what I would do if I have an image, I would add an image here above this one. And initially, this one is hidden. This element is visible. No, initially it's not visible. And what I would tell through workflow, initial content would be, I will link it to my profile from the database, and if it is if the image is there, then I will hide the uploader, and I will hide this one if no image. So I can add conditions here, but this is one thing I would do, for example. Well, I'd like you to try a couple of things, but because of lack of time, I would like to, before we move to the questions and answer, just a minute, let's see how this would look like, final look. Okay, because initially it's not there. Anyways, yeah. What I'd like to do, I'd like to show you, that's weird. Okay. Let's check that later. What I would like to show you, something from what you can try to do. Maybe you can try to add a mentor page. And this is from another exercise I did right before the session. And you can achieve something very professional looking, such as the following list, for example, of mentors. So I'm just going to show you from the back scene how this can be done. Something very easy and something that we already have touched upon. This is the mentor. I've created another page, mentor page. And what I did, I added a repeating group. Remember, when you add a repeating group, it reads from the data. So I've added a repeating group, and inside the repeating group, I created a group, which is a holder, the container for this card. So I just added that group, and very simple setup. I just added a shadow style to give it this, outset look and feel. And then I added the different elements. And as you may guess, each of these elements correspond to one field from the data. I connected this one, the user field itself, to the user data. I'm searching for all users. And each one of these, for example, this is the user's profile image. And to achieve this roundness, you can also change the roundness here. So instead of 0 or 10, I put it 250 to give it this look and feel. And this one also, I'm reading first name, space last name. And this one, I'm reading from the database, the title. And this one, I added it as an icon and then a link. So you can add, let me add this one, for example, an icon, and I will call it Facebook, whatever, okay. Something like this. So here is the Facebook as an icon, and I can add a link above it to link it to the Facebook page of the user. Something like that. So here is how you can create contemporary looking web apps using simple elements, easy to configure, easy to control using workflows, intuitive configuration and setup for the data. And last thing I want to also touch upon, we have seen workflows, data, styles, how we can change the styles, plugins. We took one example in the index page from the slideshow. And last thing, I just want to mention that there are loads of settings that you can achieve from here. The domain, for example, when you purchase the domain from, I don't know, any website, GoDaddy or whatever, and then you can set it up from here. Encryption, SEO, and thumbnails, and some advanced setup also, APIs. This is also important. And you can check the plan. So currently I'm using the free plan. And you can check what the free plan can provide for you. What's the capacity, etc. And the different plans, you can check the pricing and on the currently I'm just using to for personal learning. I am planning personally some MVP, couple of MVP to be launched using Bubble. And I'll be excited to share the news. You can follow on LinkedIn, and you can check our Founder Institute pages, our team. I thank my colleague Sayed Shumaila from Saudi Arabia to join this. We have a couple of minutes, actually. We have 5 minutes before we go to questions and answer, but let me throw a quick question. Do you think that the information and knowledge shared in this workshop motivated you to start building using some no-code tool? Do you feel that it is easier than you thought, that you can really build something? Yes or no? One, if yes. I hope everyone. Let's see some of the answers. Okay, that's really interesting. Okay, so we have a couple of minutes. Do you want to take, say, a couple of questions?
Actually, I was taking questions and I was answering them in parallel while you were doing the session itself. So I have just received one question lately. Is there any possibility to convert an existing website to Bubble?
I don't know in what cases you would want to do so. If you have an existing website, why would you convert it to Bubble? If it's for better experience?
I believe it's more of a legacy system sort of thing, how companies have legacy systems and they would like to upgrade the look and feel, and they would like to enhance the user experience. It could be possibly one of those options.
I've never seen a case where this was needed, but I think that if this is needed, then we can do two things. Number one, in the data, you can actually import if you are on the this is free version, so I cannot import my data. But in the professional license, you can import your data. So this is the first part. You can actually import your data. For the user experience, what I know, I haven't tried it, but what I know is that it can be synced with some of the platforms, user experience platforms like Figma, for example. So if there is a way that you can, I don't know, have your website in some user UI UX tool, and then import it from there to Bubble, if you don't want to do it from scratch. But I haven't seen one tool that you can import the look and feel, the user experience from one side, and it happens 100% smoothly. I mean, you still have to fix the look and feel. I don't know if this, but I haven't heard of a tool that, you know, it's in one magical button you can convert from a website to Bubble. No. There are workarounds though.
All right.
Yeah.
One thing that I would like to know, and we did have answers similar to this one as well, that how can we convert a Bubble app to a mobile application that we can publish on Play Store or App Store? So do we need a third party to do the conversion for us, or is it something that we can directly export it and then we can get that validated? Any idea on that, Manal?
As per my humble knowledge on that, what I know is that mostly Bubble is used for MVPs, right? And because of its responsive nature, the mobile look and feel is built as part of the web app. Yeah, it is built at the mobile experience is built as a web app itself with the mobile dimensions. So what they do, there are extra setup or configuration needed, but personally I haven't seen or I haven't come through a case where a full Bubble is published on a mobile app or store. I have seen mobile web apps, a web app that is used on mobile.
Because of its responsive architecture.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the scalability? How would you take a scalability of Bubble application? That, okay, MVP is developed, fine. Now we are moving forward to a full-fledged company with e-commerce, like an e-commerce platform, for example, or maybe like Instagram sort of functionality with images, comments, connections, and all. So in that situation, like, because that's not an MVP, it requires some additional features. So how can we have scalability on Bubble platform?
Yeah, what I know is that for sure there are a couple of startups started with Bubble, but they are running now full-fledged on Bubble. And even they expanded, and it is super scalable because of the different plans. Now I don't know exactly the details of each and every plan, but I've seen some of the capabilities. I've worked with people on professional plan, and it has how many users? I can't recall, but it is hundreds of thousands of users, so it can accommodate. I don't have exact numbers, but I mean, you can check and you can contact the Bubble team or Million Lab also. They work closely with Bubble. Personally, Sayed, I haven't reached that level. Planning to reach it soon. But the news are assuring, because more and more startups, I mean, it's amazing the number of startups that are creating magic through these tools, and how they scale up quickly, and the number of users, and how can it accommodate really. There are not many showcases on the Bubble website itself. There are some showcases that, if you're interested, you can check also.
Great. So, what else you would like to recommend our attendees today, Manal, that if they just want to explore it, use it, what scenario or use cases would be best for them to learn first? Like if they want to give 2 weeks of learning just for learning, not implementing their actual project. So what scenarios should they try it out first? Like usually we have in all applications, we need to have some kind of sign up, profiling, ordering processes. So what would be the best option for them to experience most of the features in lesser time? What scenario should they take it out?
What I did personally, I followed one tutorial, and I've worked on a Airbnb clone. That was the most rich experience. Like, if you dedicate some time, really some time, before you touch your own MVP, just go and try to clone something, even half of it. I haven't finished it all, but I've worked through all the most functionalities. So you'll learn about all the elements, the features, how you think about the responsiveness, how you think about the designing the data. Go and check some of the video, pick one showcase, and start with that.
All right.
Yeah, this is what I would recommend.
That's some great information. And can you show us on the screen from where we can do the learning and the lessons that the Bubble provides?
So here I've provided some of the resources. So if you go to Bubble itself, Bubble.io Academy, there are lots of interesting and engaging material in videos, content, how you can clone Instagram. Just pick something simple. I mean, Groupon. I picked Airbnb, and I love it. I loved it. Couple of hours, you see something that professional, that contemporary looking, functional, like truly functional. The search, the map, the listing, the message, the chat. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe it's time to close this session. I personally enjoyed it, and I personally enjoy. I mean, I don't feel the time when working on such projects, building something. Day by day, you will feel that the world is really full of opportunities, and the distance between your dream and turning it into a real thing in the world is really becoming more feasible, less borders, less gaps. You are having the tools. So yeah, the most amazing thing is that, as you've seen, it's easy to edit, pivot. So less worry. So you open your mind more as a founder to just go and try. It's okay. Build something quickly, 3 days, set it up and running, go check with the customers, come back, pivot, check with the mentors. And you can have something up and running within 1 to 3 months, professionally looking. This is awesome. This is unprecedented before, like couple of years before. This is not available, not possible. It's something unprecedented, and yeah, I wish I hope that I transfer some of my enthusiasm through this workshop. And please feel free to, if you have any questions, you can contact me or any of my colleagues from Founder Institute, UAE or GCC or global. You can find our portfolios on the fi.co. You can check LinkedIn. And with that, I'd really like to thank all of you, and happy no coding, let's say. Good luck. Sayed, would you like to share the AirMeet structure and how it goes?
Well, hold on, let me, because I have to enter the room first myself. So, okay, so how AirMeet would work, guys, you would have received in the email the AirMeet link as well. So once you enter it, you would find different tables there, and whoever will, and you can join different tables, and those different tables would actually allow you to interact with different people who have already joined that table. So it's like a big conference hall with smaller meeting groups on different tables, virtual tables. So you can connect with people, you can network with people, ask questions, discuss your points, know them better. So this is just to facilitate the networking part of any of the workshops that we usually have. So check your emails, guys. There will be an AirMeet link there as well. And see you there. Let's have some conversation and catch up, knowing each other better. And just one more thing before we take the exit from this Zoom call. Founder Institute is planning a GCC-wide cohort. It will be starting in June 2021. And the theme of this is Let's Rebuild 2021. So all the damage that COVID has done, what we have been through in 2020, we were able to sustain. Now let's make it better in 2021. We would welcome all the applications there. You can find us on fi.co. You can go there, you'll find Founder Institute GCC/Silicon Valley cohort. You can register as an applicant, and we'll be glad to mentor you. We'll be glad to take you to help you in realizing your dreams, your projects, your companies. Nice to have you all with us today, and thank you very much from our side.
So do you want to share the link itself of the AirMeet here in the chat itself, or have you done so?
Okay, I have pasted the link in chat for everyone, so they can connect there, and it should be okay. All right, so we'll take exit from here and see you guys on AirMeet.